me 1 second, I get off the meeting. There we go. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. We will start with the opening statement from Coach, and then Mark Brennan will have the first question.
I'm not comfortable. First of all, want to thank everybody. Like always, I'm not sure who came and who didn't, but either way, all of you guys that cover Penn State football, we appreciate it. Not sure if you could tell on TV or not, but the weather conditions were significant in the game. Went into a lot of the decision making, not only during the game but pregame. I think first of all, obviously our defense played extremely well now 2 weeks in a row, especially in short yardage situations. We won the penalty battle, except for the very first game, which is very, very unusual. We've gone back to being one of the more disciplined teams in the country when it comes to penalties. That was an outlier. So we won the penalty battle. Surprisingly, we won the explosive play battle in that game as well. I think the biggest thing in that game was the fronts, our offensive line and our defensive line. That offense had pretty much been able to move the ball and score points on everybody, and our defense was able to play really at a high level. Even when we turned the ball over on our side of the field, our defense stepped up in sudden change defense and played extremely well. So a lot of good things to build on, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the running game. On offense, thought we had a really good plan and a good feel for how we wanted to attack their defense, and then they made some adjustments, and then we adjusted from there as well. But special teams was probably the area that was impacted the most from the weather. But most importantly, we're 1-0 this week on the road. We're going to enjoy this trip back to Happy Valley and open up the questions.
A little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
No. We'll start with Mark Brennan and then Tyler Donahue, you're on deck.
James, you talked about the play of your D-line, but I wonder if you could talk specifically about the job they did on those fourth and short in the first quarter than the second quarter, because it seemed like that really set a tone for the game. Yeah,
and it's really been, Mark, 2 weeks in a row. Third and short stops, fourth and short stops as well. They had a lot of kind of window dressing on their plays with the speed sweeps and the fake speed sweeps. And I thought we did a really good job of playing the box, of making sure that our front seven handled the box and get our perimeter players to handle the speed sweeps and things like that. We were able to come off and be disruptive. We thought we had a chance with our defensive line on their O-line. But that's 2 weeks in a row in critical times. Our defense was able to, make significant stops.
Tyler Donahue, and then we'll have you bias. Sorry.
Hi. I'm good. Yep. Hi, James. I wanted to ask you, you've mentioned in the past about making sure that opposing defenses respect Will Levis as a runner and as a thrower. He had 17 carries today, no pass attempts. What led to that being such a one-dimensional part of the game plan today with Will, and do you think that's sustainable moving forward?
Yeah, we got to mix some passes in. There's no doubt about it. But on the same hand, like I mentioned, the weather was significant today. It affected both offenses, but there's no doubt about it. We have to mix some pass in there as well with Will in the game to make sure that they respect it.
Bias Wilborn, and then Corey Geiger.
Speaking of that weather, is that why on that 4th and 13 in the first quarter you went for it instead of going for stop with a field goal?
Yeah, we weren't even close to the field goal range. I don't know if you saw the first PAT. It almost didn't go in. It went up and barely crossed the crossbar and dropped pretty much straight down. So that's also why we kind of went to a 4-minute offense there. When we were in that situation, in terms of going into the wind, trying to eat the clock up so we could get the ball back. With the wind and take advantage of that. But yeah, we were kind of in no man's land. We were arguably too close to punt, too far from a field goal. So we made the decision to go for it there. But yeah, the wind was the biggest factor.
Corey Geiger, then Audrey Rondell.
James, back to your defense with those, especially the fourth down stops. What have you seen from the defense as the season has gone on? Because you gave up a lot of big plays early. How has the defense been able to make these strides?
Yeah, I just think we've gotten back to playing how we've played for 6 years, which is making sure to limit explosive plays, make people earn it, run to the ball, gang tackle. The basic fundamentals of defense, which we've done a pretty good job of here for a long time. And we got back to that. And I think a lot of it deals with our defensive line and our front being explosive and being able to handle the run or get penetration. I still think we can be a little bit more better when it comes to pressuring the quarterback and sacks, but overall, it's hard to argue with what we've done the last 2 weeks, specifically on the defensive side of the ball.
Audrey Snyder, and then we'll go to Dave Jones.
Hey, James, I wanted to go back to Tyler's point about Levis and his usage. It seems like in general, not just today, but there's kind of been a hesitancy to have him throw the ball. Is that what you guys want out of that Falcon package with him running it? Or I guess kind of how do you evaluate what that package has given you guys, not just today, but this season?
Yeah, it's primarily been a short yardage offense, that we've been using to run the ball, whether it's 4 minute, whether it's short yards, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. So yeah, that's obviously been the plan from the beginning, but we would like to mix some things in there. There's no doubt.
Dave Jones.
James, this was such a fundamentally sound game. In retrospect, how much had restrictions on your preparation in the summer because of COVID affected your lack of fundamental play up to now? And conversely, how much has Penn State's, by all accounts, very good administration of COVID, I suppose conservatively so, kept your guys on board, where there's evidence of some other teams, some other programs maybe kind of coming apart now and guys opting out? Yeah,
so Dave, I think it's, first of all, our focus from the very beginning, with our administration, with our medical people, with me to the players and to the parents, was to keep everybody safe and healthy. That was priority number one, and it was going to be challenging. We did take intentional, very conservative approach. Because of what our primary goal was from the beginning. Also, I think it factors in there different states, different rules, the timing of when your school has spring break. We didn't get any spring ball practices. If you look around the conference, that's very different. Some schools, I think, got 12 spring ball practices. Some got 0 like us. The Big Ten shutting down and then starting back up, how that was managed, I think had an effect on everybody. But it's all of it, Dave. Split practices, no meetings. Everybody's made choices in how they've wanted to handle that. And I'm very proud of how we have handled COVID, knock on wood, up to this point. We've done a really good job with that. And, me and my wife talked about this. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really the most important thing, that our responsibility is to keep our student athletes safe and healthy. And we've worked really hard at that. Has there been some impacts of that on other areas and other things? Yes.
Rich Scarcella and Nate Bauer.
Hi, James. Two-part question. Exactly how much did the weather impact your play calling, particularly in the third quarter and fourth quarter? And secondly, how would you evaluate the way Sean Clifford played?
Yeah, I thought early on in the first half, I thought he played really well. Obviously the turnovers, we can't have them. We had the one fumble, and then we had the one interception. I thought, when Sean missed today, he missed high. which puts you in jeopardy of tip passes and things like that. But I thought early on he looked very comfortable. He looked very confident managing the game. But we gotta do it consistently, and we gotta get all those in-breaking balls down on your body. So, you got a chance to possess the ball, complete the ball, and not put the ball at risk. But yeah, I think the weather affected them, and I know the weather affected us significantly on special teams and on offense.
Time for two more, Nate Bauer and then T. Frank.
James, has there been a consistency or a trend or a tendency in those turnovers, particularly on your own side of the field, through the course of the season? How do you evaluate those?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the fumbles, it's ball security, it's technique, it's fundamentals, it's understanding that people are going to go for the ball. And again, we've done a really good job of that over 7 years, but it's been an issue for us this year. It's been the biggest impact. It's had the biggest impact on our season, the turnovers. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I also think we got to be able to push the ball up the field more. And I'm not just talking about this game. I'm just talking about in general, because by doing that, it will open up the underneath stuff as well. We gotta threaten people down the field more. I think that will help. That's an area that we got to get better.
T. Frank Carr, you have the last question.
James, going off of that, threatening people deep with the deep ball, how much of that is play call and how much of that is execution of called plays that aren't taken?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. We took the one shot down the sideline to Jahan, which, first of all, I thought he had caught it. Number two, I can't imagine that there wasn't contact on that play. But we got to do more of that. We got to build the confidence, in practice and in games to do that more. We got to find creative ways to do it. But at the end of the day, we got to be able to push the ball down the field in terms of in practice, in terms in games, in terms of how we call the play, and then in terms of how we go get the ball in the air and how we throw it. It's all of it. We got to be more explosive when it comes to the passing game.
Thank you very much, Coach. Coach, we'll have student athletes here momentarily.